Hello everyone, Papa Ken here, and welcome to the third episode of Discovering Once Upon a Time. The episode I'm going to be watching today is Snow Falls. Very simple name. Obviously can only assume that it has to do with Snow White and Mary, whose middle name still escapes me. I keep forgetting it's Mary, then something else that starts with an M, but oh well. Let's get right into it and watch the third episode, and then I will see you afterward for my review. So, let's get right into it. Oh, that was definitely a CGI deer.
Girl.
Really? Oh, jeez. Prince can definitely take a hit. Ooh, now I'm curious. Will this spark any memories?
The prince chased the thief on horseback with a treacherous force. The betrothal crossed her arms.
A slight fluctuation in brain activity.
And who was this volunteer?
Mary Margaret Blanchard.
Does she actually remember?
These were special. Among them was a ring that belonged to my mother. A ring I was about to give.
The nag with the bad attitude, that's what this is about?
She's my fiancée.
Good luck with that. Doing something impressive to have agreed to that union.
Excuse me?
I know how this works. True love, it doesn't exist.
We have to go back. You have to redo them again.
Let's go. Wait,
Oh,
wait.
okay.
What if I got through to him? Henry told me that you were from a similar situation to his own. Did you ever find them? Depends who you ask. Henry? Did you find him yet? No, not yet. You shouldn't be here.
I can help. I know where he's going.
You need to go home. Where's your mom? She's gonna kill me. And then you. And then me again.
Come on, right out.
Well, we need to get you back.
Oh, wow. Oh, lucky that didn't hit the prince. The kiss. The kiss.
Is that spare room still available?
Ooh, thought of a sneeze. Sorry. Okay. I have a lot of thoughts. A lot of thoughts here. Oh, the other dwarf is Sleepy / Walter. Okay. Okay. Wow. Well, that was... I enjoyed the previous episode, but this one... I mean, I'm just going to come out and say it. This was a really, really good episode. For a number of reasons. So... let's get right into it. Talking about my favorite parts of this episode. Starting with, Snow White was a thief? Now, I know, again, I don't have a thorough knowledge of the old fairy tales and the myths, but I always thought that it was just like Snow White, the huntsman took her out to the woods and spared her life, and then she... you know, found the dwarves, lived with them, so on and so forth. And, you know, and that was it. She lived with them. But I'm curious whether or not her being a thief, like seemingly sort of like a Robin Hood-esque character, but clearly instead of like, you know, taking from the rich and giving to the poor, it's taking from the rich and keeping herself so she can get out of town. But I'm curious how much of that might actually be part of the actual Snow White lore. It might be completely made up, I don't know, but yeah, interesting. Very, very interesting. But my second favorite part of this episode, the developing relationship between Emma and Mary/Snow White. Just throughout the episode, there was, like, the way their relationship seemed to be developing. I mean, there's definitely not a, like, mother-daughter relationship. Whenever the curse is broken, I don't know, that may become more of a thing. But they are becoming friends that are talking and getting to know each other. That's just, I really like the way that relationship is evolving overall. So yeah, there's that. Now, my third favorite part of this episode has to be, I wrote down Snow White and Prince Charming / James's dialogue, but the development of their relationship even. The dialogue between them is just, it's absolutely hilarious. It's really well written. It had very much a romantic comedy-esque style to it, but it felt natural at the same time. Now, admittedly, the development of the feelings happened kind of suddenly, but I mean, come on, it's fairy tales and stuff. That kind of stuff happens all the time. But I really love the dialogue and just the evolution of their relationship and the way that the characters, or the way that the story matched up on both ends, both in the land of magic and the land without magic. I really like that. Now, my fourth favorite part of this episode, quite simply, Leroy! Just because I love seeing Grumpy. He's just, I want to see, I really want to see an episode with some development of him and the others, like Sleepy and probably any of the others that come up, but I really want to see more of the dwarves and Leroy, because Grumpy in this show is my favorite of the dwarves, clearly. But okay, my fifth favorite part of this episode has to be the bridge trolls, and this actually brings up one thing that the sponsor for me doing this, Meleena, actually brought up when I first started watching, and that's that the intro title cards to each episode, starting with episode 2, has a meaning, or it has a connection with the episode as a whole. In the previous one, or in the second episode, the title card had a unicorn, and I forgot to make that connection, but that's what Maleficent had. She had her pet unicorn. So, yeah, there's that. But in this one, it had what I thought was like a gremlin of sorts, and that's kind of close. It ended up being a troll. I thought that it had a tail or something like that, but it may have been a sword or its cape, something along those lines. But I don't know, I like how it had that little subtle hint of what was coming up in the episode. So I'm going to make sure and try and comment on that in the episode, you know, all the episodes coming up. Now, my sixth favorite part of the episode was the reveal of Prince Charming's name, James. I honestly thought they were going to keep it a running joke that, you know, the prince is just known as Charming, that they would never actually reveal his name. But, you know, by giving him the name James, I don't know, it seems rather interesting. I'm curious to see whether or not that might play a role in upcoming episodes. We'll just have to wait and see, I suppose. But, yeah. Now, my seventh and final favorite part of this episode had to be the kiss. When Mary was giving CPR to the John Doe, obviously Prince Charming, and it's just, I didn't think about it until, it was actually happening. When she was kissing him, like, the thought went through my mind, like, is this going to be like the Snow White scenario reversed? And that ended up being what happened. I thought that was honestly quite brilliant. I mean, some people might complain it's a little bit obvious, heavy-handed, whatever, but I thought for this particular scene, well, this particular episode, it worked really, really well, and I loved the reversal of that role, because, I mean, in the pilot episode, we literally got the prince kisses Snow White, she wakes up. So yeah, I really like the way that they did the kiss there. That was really well done. Now, moving on to my annoyances, I actually only have one, and it's definitely a nitpick, but it is something that visually kind of annoyed me. And it's that when we see the bridge trolls, I mean, I thought they were pretty well designed. They looked interesting. But the part that bothered me was the faces, and for certain ones, like the troll that was clearly the head troll, like his mouth moved. It's like, you know, the teeth were exposed the whole time, but the mouth moved. But for the other ones, I couldn't tell if it was more like a mask or what was going on, because they just kind of had like static facial expressions. It didn't move at all, and that just, I don't know, it seems like if they took the time to give the head troll like the moving mouth and make it look, you know, realistic, like a really good use of practical effects, that they wouldn't do that with these other trolls. So again, I don't know if that's just what they told the actors to do, to just kind of like keep their faces in these snarls, or what, but that in particular did bother me. But again, it's just a nitpick. So yeah, those are my favorite parts of the episode, as well as my annoyances. Let me know some of your thoughts on that, because I'm interested to see if anyone else had some annoyances that maybe I didn't pick up on, and at the same time, perhaps some other favorite aspects. So yeah, leave that in the comments down below. Moving on from there, songs, in regard to songs, I mean, it's the same, it's pretty much the same story. It's like, you know, the music is good, I really like it, but it's like the end track, you know, was very somber, very sad, but I liked it, and it's the one that kind of stands out the most. But overall, just the music in this episode is really, like, in all the episodes so far, have been really well done. I think the only thing that'll make me think otherwise is if, like, all of a sudden we get some pop culture song thrown in there from out of nowhere. That might be a little bit offsetting, but yeah, for the time being, it's just like, I don't know what to say about the songs. They're just good. But okay, moving on from there, my quote of the episode, I actually have two. And it's because they were just perfect. There are definitely some other quotable lines in this episode, but the two that came to mind most for me was, well, the first one is when Snow White just starts referring to the prince as Prince Charming, or the Prince Charming, and he says, "I have a name, you know." that line right there, it was just perfect, because, I mean, up to that point, we didn't actually know if he had a name, or I didn't know if he had a name. People that have been watching the show, I'm sure, knew this, but for me, it was just like, well, maybe that's part of the continuing joke. It's like he has a name, but we'll never know what it is. So yeah, that was a line that definitely stood out. The second one came from Emma, and it was when Henry showed up in the woods, and she was kind of scolding Henry, and she was referring to Regina, his mom, saying, "She's gonna kill me, and then you, and then me again." That just, and I think the reason that that line in particular, other than just being funny, stood out the most to me is because it kind of reminded me of something that my wife tells me from time to time, is that you know, sometimes we'll be joking around. It's like, you know, when we get old and this and that. And Jill will tell me, "If you die before me, I'm going to kill you." So it's just that whole idea of, okay, if I die, she's going to bring me back to life to kill me again. So, yeah. Like I said, it was funny to me for different reasons, but also it was a really funny line in general. Now, as for theories and questions, this is the part where This is the part where it starts to be a little bit harder for me, because I don't know if I'm overthinking things or what, but, well, the first question is, like, as far as the question I actually wrote down, it's, who is Dr. Whale? Because, seemingly, all of the people in this town are fairy tale characters, slash myths, slash whatever, that have been affected by the curse. So what is he from? It's like, I didn't recognize him from anyone else in the flashbacks. I thought maybe when the Queen's Guard came up on Snow White that maybe he was the one without the mask on, but the facial expressions, at least from what I could tell, didn't really match up. So I am curious as who is Dr. Whale, and does that name Whale have any connotation to who he really is? Again, I just have no idea. Again, I may be overthinking things in that regard. But also, the reveal of, well, David's wife at the end there, who was his fiancée from the beginning of the episode, it kind of mixes into other questions I have. It's like the continuing question is like, how much does Regina actually know? Confusing to me, and just hard to wrap my head around, really. But yeah, and no more sign of Mr. Gold in this one, so didn't really have a chance to expand any more theories on him, but I don't know. I could go on for a long, long time trying to theorize that stuff, but that won't get me anywhere. What will get me somewhere is continuing with the show, which I don't think I'm going to do tonight, but I will be doing again fairly soon. So, oh, and the next episode that we will be watching is The Price of Gold. And again, not looking at the description because possible spoilers. But everyone, thank you very much for joining me for this episode of Discovering Once Upon a Time. I hope you enjoyed it. Of course, like I was saying before, leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Let me know what you're looking forward to. You know, let us know if you have any suggestions. Again, this is being sponsored by the amazing Meleena. Thank you so much for doing this, Meleena. It's definitely one heck of a ride, and I'm looking forward to doing reactions to the rest of the episodes for this show. I mean, it definitely has me hooked so far. But alright, everyone. Until next time, I'm Papa Ken, and I'll see you later.